Good morning, everyone. My name is Jim Wells. I'm a member of the worship ministry here at Live Oak. Whether you're joining us over Zoom or are here in the sanctuary, we're glad you are with us. We are especially grateful that you all braved the crazy weather to be here. You know, as Universalists, Unitarian Universalists, many of us don't spend a lot of time with the Bible, but on my way over here, I'm pretty sure I saw the animals pairing up 2 by 2. I saw it. Our congregation is one of respect and inclusion. We accept all people as they are, growing toward who they might become. I wanted to start by thanking all the people who come together each week to create such a welcoming and meaningful Sunday service. We appreciate you all. I also wanted to say that the land on which our Live Oak campus is located and where many of us live is part of the ancient homeland of the Chumash people. We pay respect to Chumash peoples, past, present, and future. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Reverend Dr. Owen Towle to our pulpit. Reverend Tom was ordained in 1967 and is still preaching hither and yon, especially in our Channel Islands region. He currently sings in a nursing home and volunteers at the AHA program for teenagers since relocating to Santa Barbara with his new wife, Loretta Salisbury, who is here with us, to be near daughter Erin and her family. Tom also conducts workshops on conscious aging and mindful dying, and is the author of 24 books on spiritual fulfillment and social justice. He wants you to know that he is honored to be returning to Live Oak, and we want you to know that Live Oak is honored to welcome you back. So welcome, Reverend Dr. Tom.
I've selected for our reading this Thanksgiving-focused service, Let Us Give Thanks. It's composed by a colleague, the Reverend Max Coots of blessed memory, who served in Canton, New York, and was one of my colleagues. Perhaps you're familiar with it. Let us give thanks for a bounty of people, for children who are our second planting, and though they grow like weeds, and the wind too soon blows them away, may they forgive us our cultivation and fondly remember where their roots are. Let us give thanks for generous friends with hearts as big as Hubbard's and smiles as bright as their blossoms, for feisty friends as tarts as apples, for continuous friends who, like scallions and cucumbers, keep reminding us that we've had them, for crotchety friends as sour as rhubarb and as indestructible, for handsome friends who are as gorgeous as eggplants and as elegant as a row of corn, and the others as plain as potatoes and as good for you, for funny friends who are as silly as Brussels sprouts and as amusing as Jerusalem artichokes, and serious friends as complex as cauliflowers and as intricate as onions, for friends as unpretentious as cabbages, as subtle as summer squash, as persistent as parsley, as delightful as dill, as endless as zucchini, and who, like parsnips, can be counted on to see you throughout the winter. For old friends nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on as fast as radishes, for loving friends who wind around us like tendrils and hold us despite our blights, wilts, and witherings. And finally, for those friends now gone, like gardens past that have been harvested, and who fed us in their times that we might have life thereafter. For all these, we give thanks. Eternal Spirit of life and love and liberation, our prayer is simple. Be our companion. It's hard to do life alone. Bring us comfort internally, interpersonally, and internationally, and comfort our hearts and our spirits, those we know and those we don't know, those who are suffering. Be their companion. And be our challenger. Keep us growing. Keep us morally awake and spiritually vital. May there be peace and unrest in our lives. Sufficient unrest to keep us awake and on our toes, and sufficient rest to bring us calm and serenity. And through all that we face every day, may we be grateful. We're lucky to be here in the first place. What a joy to be here. What a beautiful sight and vital community you have sustained and are sustaining. Cheers and blessings for Live Oak. I know, I've been here. In my 58 years of ministry, I'm not sure how many times I've been at your old site in Isla Vista and here, but probably 3 or 4 times. And I know some of you, and I know most all of the ministers in your history. Betts Winnicky, your founding minister and minister emerita, was a precious friend of Carolyn and mine. Peter, it's a joy to be here. There are going to be tears flowing today, okay? But as my friend Doug Von Koss says, let your tears wet the ground. Something might sprout and grow. And the older I get, the wiser that statement is in my soul. But it's an emotional day for me to be here. Erica Hewitt, Paul Beadle, Thomas Anastasi, Tamara Casanova, Suzuki, hope I'm not missing anybody, and Jonathan Young, whom I'm really meeting today. We're meeting, and I know Jonathan's been here since your beginnings, and you're the reason I'm here. Thank you for inviting me. But there's an associate, Lars Poulsen, he met me, he's not here today, I'm looking around, he's not here, but he's on Zoom. Lars, he was in the YMCA, the men's room with me. It was the locker room, not the men's room, actually, the locker room. And we took up a conversation. And he connected with Jonathan, and I'm here. And may this be the beginning of many of other times. My wife, Loretta, and I have moved from San Diego to be here in Santa Barbara to be near our daughter and son-in-law and family. We're not going anyplace in the foreseeable future. We're settled here, and may this be the beginning of other connections in our friendship. There'll be a time when I look in the mirror and say, Tom, don't go out anymore. I'm not there yet. I'm still vital and awake and want to share my gifts and receive in our blessed Unitarian Universalist congregations. I mean, what a blessing with Jim. I just got to know Jim today, and he's newly partnered too. I heard that. And, we could go on the road together. You're good. And Kevin, the music. You tickle the ivories with energy, vitality. And Michael, I've got to know through the Sangha that meets here. Loretta and I come on Tuesdays to be part of the Sangha. And others that have been a part of this, thank you for teaming with me. After the service, I'm going to be near the table in the back there with some of my books that I still have copies of. Most of them are gone over the years. Few are in the garage, but they're for children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Or if they take them to the dump, that's okay too. But they're still available. The ones that are there are still available either at the UUA bookstore or through Amazon.com. And my latest book, Living with Purpose and Integrity, A Fresh Perspective of the Ten Commandments, I have cards where you can order this one. And I'm dedicating a copy of this to your library here. And I'm also dedicating a copy of Woman's Spirit, The Rise of Feminism and Empowerment of Women in Liberal Religion. Bets would have been in here. She hadn't died 2017. And my wife of 50 years is in here before she died, Carolyn Sheets, Owen, Towle. And this is a keeper. This is the prophetic stories of pioneering women in our movement, upon whose shoulders we sit and stand and move today. And this one's going to be in your library too. Just put them over my chair. Yeah, that's great. Thanks. When I served in the Midwest for a few years, and we had light snows and sleet storms, and this is our equivalent out here. So I'm writing down your name and sending it to the celestial bookkeeper. You get some points for being here. I mean, to weather the storms to get here. So thank you for being here. In recent times, I've always started my sermons by singing a patch from Kate Wolf's song, you may know it, Give Yourself to Love. Kate died of leukemia at the age of 44. Way too early. Give yourself to love, if love is what you're after. Open up your heart to the tears and laughter. Oh, give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Thanksgiving is our greatest American holiday. It doesn't honor any military prowess. It honors spiritual freedom. It celebrates kinship with the earth rather than victory over a human foe. It's simply more spiritual than patriotic. For me, it's our highest and foremost American holiday. In a pogo episode, Churchy LaFemme, maybe you recall it, sits wailing in the back of a rowboat after seeing a newspaper headline that states, "Sun will burn out in 3 billion years, killing all life." And Churchy cries, "Woe is me. I'm too young to die." And Porky reprimands him, saying, shut up. You're lucky to be here in the first place. And so we are. Lucky to be here in the first place. You know the mathematical odds of our being born are incredible, something like 1 in 700 trillion. No two snowflakes are alike. No two humans are the same either. Even identical twins differ. It's a marvel that each of us, irrepeatables, walks the earth at this very moment in time. In Cat's Cradle, a fanciful science fiction novel, Kurt Vonnegut, whose family, by the way, were the founding pillars of our Indianapolis Unitarian congregation. He was linked to that. Conveys the same attitude through the Bokanist death ritual. The Bokanists, you see, serve God by lying down on the floor, raising their legs, and massaging each other's feet, soul to soul, while communing with God. When one of the old Bokanists is about to die, she recites the prayer, God made mud. I was some of the mud that got to suit up and look around. What memories for mud to have. I loved everything I saw. Lucky me, lucky mud. And so if we're bold enough to wear this attitude, not just state it, wear this attitude until our death, then like the Bokanist, when our time comes to release our consciousness back to the greater planetary pool, we can shout, how blessed I was to be. Lucky me, lucky mud. None of us asked to be born. There's no special merit involved with our arrivals. And never forget, we didn't earn the privilege of life. We were lucky. And whether we look at existence scientifically or religiously or both, it's an unspeakable miracle. It's a wonder. It's a gift of grace. Every morning I get up, I try to take a deep breath and shout forth, wow, it's good to be alive. I'm lucky to be here. I'm taking nothing for granted today. I'm going full bore. What will love be asking me to be and say to do in the next 24? Well, to be honest, at 84, I don't spring out of bed upon waking. I usually crawl or stumble out, straightway to the bathroom for 5th time. But nonetheless, thankful for the gift of another unearned 24 hours. A dear friend of mine, a colleague, Orlando Brignolia, of blessed memory, taught us along the way this prayer from the Nepalese tradition, and I've got my own version of it. I get up and I stand still and strong, hands in front of me. This is confirmation. I say, it's good for me to be alive. I'm a gift of creation. I belong here. Then sharing the phrase from Unitarian E.E. Cummings, thank you, God, for most this amazing day. Then I open my hands up in a chalice formation and I welcome and receive all the difficulties and the delights of this day. And I will use them to bless and be blessed. by all the families of the earth. Then I return to a place of fulfillment. And at the end of the day, may I be sufficiently solid, serene, and joyful, and loving. As long as we're awake and we're breathing, we can exude and exemplify gratitude. And for me, it simply works best to launch every morning with abundant thanksgiving. My day simply tastes better when launched with thankfulness. Let me tell you the story of how gratitude and I got together. It was a clumsy start. My parents were worried about me as a toddler because I didn't seem willing or able to muster detectable words until about 5 or so. Fortunately, I was suffering from no psychophysical malaise of major consequence. Perhaps like the biblical Mary, I was pondering things in my heart. She's coming around soon. And once I started to talk, albeit late, I emerged in sentences. And look at me now. I mean, words are my trade. When I first started to talk, I remember something like this. Who knows whether it's accurate? Doesn't matter, does it? My mom pulling me aside and saying, "Tommy, before you get going, I've got a few tips to offer you. Son, there are words that heal and there are words that hurt. And I want you to major in the words that heal. Second, there are 5 phrases that are special to me and I want them to be liberally sprinkled throughout the course of your life and your brother Phil. They aren't complicated, they aren't fancy. They don't belong to the scholars or the gurus, they belong to everybody. They're words that mend and soothe, that give life. And so I pass them on for your caring use and safekeeping. And whenever you're not sure what to say, just be quiet. Or offer one of the following simple phrases. Thank you. I love you. How are you? I'm sorry. Tell me more. Mom went on, as I recall. Now, of course, there are going to be, Tommy, inappropriate times to use any of these words. But almost universally, these 5 phrases express gratitude, respect, love, the most important freight that language can ever carry. But of all the 5 phrases that Mom passed on, her clear favorite was thank you, which she quickly added came with 2 conditions. Number first, if you never share your gratitude, son, it won't reach its destination. Plus, if you don't offer thanks precisely when you feel it, you won't get around to sharing it later. The moment will pass. Gratitude is ground floor. Tommy, it's life's spiritual engine. All the big virtues are motored by gratitude. Everything flows from a thankful heart. Well, that was the main mini lecture of my growing up, and I spent the rest of my years trying to live up to it, some version of it. So my spiritual kin here in Goleta, California, while it's sitting full in my heart, thank you. Thanks for inviting me into your midst. But the truth is that human gratitude isn't easy. It's a mature human emotion. I mean, just revisit the real story of Thanksgiving Day, which, by the way, is worth doing when you aren't bloated with food and relatives. Like now, 10 days before we have Thanksgiving Day. I mean, the real story is mixed with motives that are mixed and results that are tormented, just like our lives. We tend to romanticize our holy days. We idealize the setting, the characters and the virtues of the first Thanksgiving, because among other reasons, we're fearful of sullying our American image. That's why we have trouble with DEI. On the contrary, the older I get, the more inspired I am when acknowledging that the Pilgrims were roughly as brave and beastly as humans of most eras. I can identify with them. They're my siblings. Take a look at them. A motley handful of families who defied all good sense, did a stupid thing in seeking to settle a wilderness in winter, way worse than here today, and to plant seeds of democracy in the New World. They came to build a way of life and community that would furnish, as John Winthrop said, a light unto the nations. We're still trying to turn it on. It was tougher than anyone could have imagined. In that first winter at Plymouth, over half of them died of starvation and exposure, including many children. They had to wonder, why are we doing this? Who set us on this trek? What's sacred about it? What's our mission? Too late to return, but why are we here? Yet William Bradford wrote in his simple journal, they knew they were pilgrims, and they summoned answerable courages. What a marvelous phrasing of the central religious response to life. They knew they were pilgrims, and they summoned answerable courages. We too are pilgrims, even though most of our journeys require not passage across actual oceans, but the spanning of interior and relational and societal gulfs that are fierce. In these 21st century times of hardship and uncertainty and oppression, we're constantly, daily pressed into answerable courages for the living of our days, aren't we? I mean, answerable means possible. It denotes responsibility, the ability to respond. It refers to the fact that the Pilgrims simply did what they had to do to survive the winter and settle the new land. I pay close attention to that kind of courage, because it's basically the same kind that you and I are asked as Unitarian Universalists to summon for our daily adventures as free-thinking mystics with hands. Answerable means doable, attainable, get going. You can do hard. As Rilke said, love means holding to the difficult. Okay, let's look at some of the twists and the torments of the original Thanksgiving. We got 10 days, we got to get ready. The first notable irony is that the Pilgrims came to America not really because of gratitude, but because of ingratitude. They were dissatisfied with the conditions of life in their homeland. They were gravely discontented. And discontent marks the human spirit breaking out of the prison houses of the past. It's the human spirit doing what the spirit was made for, bursting forth with new and unfettered energy. So let's never underestimate the role of ingratitude in human change. If the Pilgrims had only been a lot of thankful sentimentalists, they wouldn't have left home in the first place. 3 cheers for discontent and dissent and disgust. For these motivators create transformation. How about right now, November 2025? Where is the discontent in your own personal journey and throughout our American landscape? And what are you and I, pilgrims, doing about it? What answerable courages are being summoned in our souls right here, right now? Your call, not mine. I know what I'm about, try to be about. Here's another piece of Thanksgiving ambiguity. The Pilgrims intended a new start in the moral history of the world. Yeah, but their intentions were both noble and ignoble. Sound familiar? Like ours. They pursued religious freedom, all right, but they came to America to worship in their own way and to make other people do the same, which isn't religious freedom. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they landed. I'm pleased that their land has become my land. But that same landing of the Pilgrims also marks stealing, robbery, territory from the Native Americans, the destruction of their religion and way of life, centuries of agony and poverty, loss and death for the natives already dwelling here. So this day of gladness must always be tempered by a deep and disturbing sadness. May remorse and repentance and restoration be on its way. There's a cartoon showing the Pilgrims landing in this country, and it reads, "At long last an end to religious persecution." Now where are those rotten heathen Indians? And the first Thanksgiving was tainted. It's okay, so are we. Our Thanksgiving celebrations are just as checkered. They're filled with food and famine, family and loneliness, compassion and bigotry, greed and gratitude, all in ample measure, and sometimes intermingled under the same roof. Our contemporary Thanksgivings aren't any more romantic than those of our Pilgrim forebears when we really look at them. About 15 years ago, there were broken bonds in our family. Torment, who belongs in, who's out. And our daughter here in Santa Barbara, it's her turn to have the Thanksgiving. And can't remember the words exactly, but you'll get the message that she was delivering. And she sent out the word to all the in-laws and outlaws and all the struggles, people we were struggling. Does that sound familiar? She said, all are welcome at our Thanksgiving table. We're grateful for everyone's gift and mood and presence. We invite you to show up. And we had Thanksgiving together. And the hurts were felt, experienced on the road toward healing. Our lives are twisted and are tormented, interpersonally and internally and globally, but we can still share lives of thanksgiving. As a life-affirming religion, we're flawed. Unitarian Universalism, don't overrate it. We got our snags, our short suits. But in spite of our brokenness and our cowardice, we still claim to possess the capacity to demonstrate thankfulness for our lives and to share the bounty of earth with fellow travelers, all beasts, as it says in Genesis, all families, that includes the beasts and the plants, all families of the earth. We share it with all of them. And as the German mystic Meister Eckhart put it, if the only prayer you say in your entire life is thank you, that's enough. Or as Annie Lamott, the current author, puts it, when you come to the end of your life, remember to say thank you instead of please. Thank you instead of please. So Thanksgiving isn't a holiday, really. It's way more than that. It's not even a season, it's way more than that. It isn't a fair or foul weather season. It's a chosen way of being during your stint in the universe. It's a way of starting the day, a way of ending the day, a way of living all the moments in between. And you know what? I found that gratitude can be improved. It can be grown, it can be enhanced with practice, but where do you start? And the obvious place for me is with surprise. Every day to be awakened by some moment or experience of surprise. As Alice Walker, the author, puts it, expect nothing, live frugally on surprise. Look at our body. It produces and destroys 15 million red blood cells every second. 15 million. That's twice the census of New York City. And if the blood cells in our body lined up end to end, they would reach around the world, yet our hearts need only 1 minute to pump our blood through this filigree network and back again, and it's been doing so, in my case, for 84 plus years, and still pumping away at 100,000 heartbeats every 24 hours. Now, that's a matter of life and death, I know, for you and for me. But I have no idea, no real concern how it's working. I'm just filled with gratitude. Thank you, body, thank you. Oh, the marvels that life delivers. We just soak in them. Be still, wordless, everlastingly grateful. Remember Job, the Hebrew Scriptures. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Hey, blessed be the name of the Lord. Now there is a spirit I'm after this morning. A sentiment that brings us back to the pilgrims, perpetual thankfulness. Everyone, though, assumes that the pilgrims were thankful for having survived. Seems to me they were able to survive because they were thankful. After all, why should they have given thanks? After so much grief and loss and suffering and death, and why give thanks after a hard winter's endurance by dint of their own human effort? If anything, they probably should have held a gathering of shared commiseration and mutual self-congratulations. That would have been more logical, more fitting. Thankfulness isn't logical. Through living our thankfulness, we claim our true humanity and bless the creation. It's our Energizer bunny. It's our lodestar. It's the guts of any religion worth having and worth being. Whether arguing or rejoicing, the thankful person remains thankful. Whether celebrating beauty or protesting injustice, the thankful person remains thankful. Whether laughing or crying, fearful or in pain, the thankful person remains thankful. It isn't a passing state. It's not an annual feast. It's a perpetual condition. We're lucky to be here. First place, lucky me, lucky you, lucky mud.